Hello, everybody. It's Monday. All day long, even into the night. It's Monday. Hope you guys are doing well. I thought what I would do this evening, because that's when I'm broadcasting, that I would cover a journal and make like a Christmas journal out of it. So that's what I'm going to do. So you are welcome to come along for the adventure, because I'm just going to do it live and in person. Hope you guys are all doing okay. It is a quiet night tonight. Hello, Connie. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Hello, ARH, Angela. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Hope things are going okay. Sometimes my hair does its own kind of thing, you know? Sometimes you just kind of go, oh, well, whatever. Yeah. I'm going to make a little journal tonight, I think. I'm going to at least cover it, at least kind of get it started. So I'm just putting some tacky glue down here on a piece of palette paper. You're all good. That's excellent. Excellent. Hello, Carlin. Carlin, is that right? I know I ask you that so many times. Eventually it will stick. Eventually I get it. Good to see you. Good to see you all. So yeah, today's Monday, December 9th is when I am broadcasting. And yeah, December is getting on, isn't it? It's crazy. It's getting on. So I'm going to put a little bit of hand lotion on my... I just have this one finger that is just still making me a little crazy, but I'm just going to put some lotion on it because I happen to have some here, and we're going to see if that'll stop it. It wants to itch. Too much information, I know. So anyway, welcome in, everybody. It's Monday, and hopefully we will make it drama-free. I'm here. Chance is in his other house. He is doing, I think there were some people maybe that thought he had passed away. He is not. He is happy as a clam in his house. He is very happy. He's living a life. Oh, you're worn out. Yeah. Physical therapy can do that to you. It sounds like it wouldn't be a big deal, but in fact, it can be a big deal, huh? So anyhow, Chance is living his life, boy. He is having a great life. And he would like to be here with you all. And if all goes well, when I get the studio moved, he will be back driving everybody crazy again. Hello, Jill. I am doing great. Thank you very much. Okay, so I don't know why it struck me today, but I decided, well, I know what started it. I was putting up our Christmas tree. It's actually a little Christmas tree from my house that I took to his house, and I was putting it up the last couple of days. It's just one of those little ones, you know. 2 pieces, has lights on it, but I always add more lights. So I was putting it up and adding Christmas ornaments. I haven't put up a Christmas tree in I don't know how long. So I thought, maybe I could actually do a Christmas journal, because I haven't done that in ages either. So, hey, Jenny. Oh, thank you. He is happy. He really is a happy boy. And he is just living his life, boy. He is living his life. The funny thing about, I should take some pictures of the room he's in. He's in a bedroom currently. That's where his stuff is. That's where the studio is going to be, is the bedroom that will not have a bed in it. But it has the chair, and it's one of those, I don't know what kind of chair it's called. It's not an egg chair. It's not a, it's one of those it has this weird shape. It's like a circle, but it has like somebody pushed the middle out and that becomes the seat. And it just has, it's not one of those that totally encapsulates you, but it's kind of something that I think is about from a 50s kind of styling, but I don't know for sure. Hey, Peggy. And so he liked that chair, and it was in the room. So I put his cat bed on the seat of that chair. And so it's just a real cozy little spot for him, I guess. And then sometimes he gets on the bed that's still in there currently because it's really high and there are windows in that room. It's a corner room and there's windows in there. So he can get on this bed that's right under the window and he can just look out the window, and he loves that. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, so it occurred to me today that maybe I could actually make a Christmas journal. I haven't done that in years. I have one. I don't know if I can put my hand on it, but I did probably in 2012. It's called a Papasan. Papasan? Is that what it's called? I'm going to have to look that up. Popasan. They do know how to get cozy for sure. Pasan chair. It's kind of like that. Yeah, it's pretty much like that actually. I'd never even heard of that before. Except it doesn't have all that padding and stuff, but that's pretty much what it's like. But it sits a little bit more upright. But yeah, I'd never even heard of that type of chair before. But that's kind of what it is. That's what it is? Papasan? Is that how you sell Papasan? Papasan? I've never even heard of that before. Anyway, he loves it. He loves it. He thinks it's great. And his cat bed fits right in the seat. And so he just feels like he's just kind of nestled in, I guess. So he likes that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I have this this book. This was a reclaimed book. So it's just a reclaimed cash ledger sort of book that I saved from something. And so I pulled all the pages out of it. Here's the book block. So I cut the book block out of it. I'll use that for something else. And I pulled all the loose stuff off of it that I could get off of it. I don't think I can get any more of this. And so I'm going to just cover it and then see what we can do. But it's not a real big book, and so I thought for 1 month that might be good. And will I actually be able to get this done? I'm not sure. But hey, why not? So I've got some tacky glue here, and it's just on a piece of palette paper, so I'm going to put that tacky glue in here in the spine area. This had paper or something in it, which I took off because it was loose, and so I thought, well, I'll get rid of that. Well, you really have to put something back over that if you're going to make a journal out of it, so that it strengthens up that section a little bit more. Okay. And then this is just a piece of heavyweight muslin. And so I'm going to put this in here like so. This is not rocket science, folks. Absolutely is not rocket science. Hope you all are doing well today and you've had a good day. My day has been fine. I actually got a little bit of a nap this afternoon, which was, there's something that happens to me when I walk in the door of my house because I'm not totally settled anywhere yet. I walk in the door of my house here where I broadcast, and my body just crashes. You know, it's like, I don't know what that's about. Don't even care what it's about. And so to get anything done, I have to just kind of really make myself get it together. And Muppet's over here with me tonight. She's, oh, you guys, what that dog did, that dog. You guys are going to laugh at this one. Okay, so I've just put tacky glue under there just to reinforce that. So, and then I'm going to do it on this side. You think it is? Hey, Janet, you don't have any video? Everybody else have video okay? I'm assuming you might need to restart your YouTube app. Janet, maybe that's the issue. I don't know. It's hard to say. Too many variables and things. It could be overwhelmed. I suppose that is entirely true. There certainly are moments where that is 100% accurate. 100% accurate. So this is all I'm doing just to try to reinforce that spine area. And I'll reinforce it from the other side as well, from the outside. But I thought, well, we'll do this first. Okay, and I'm working on a nonstick mat. Okay, thanks, Angela. All right, so this, what I'm going to do is I have this piece of red fabric. It's just, this is an old red fabric, actually. I don't know how long I've had it. It's probably come and gone from being fashionable several times. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dilute my tacky glue a little bit just by picking up some water. I have water on my desk, and so I'm just going to dilute it with a little bit of water because it's going to spread easier. It is pretty fabric. It really is. So, and this already had been reinforced with some sort of tape. It just was the way that I got it. And I decided I'm just going to leave it on there. So we're going to just add a coat of tacky glue, and this is Aleene's tacky glue, which is heavier than like Elmer's glue, Glue All, or any of that kind of thing. It's a little heavier, has a little more hefty consistency, and but sometimes you do need, especially, hello Peg, especially if I've been letting it, if the bottle has been hanging around for a while, sometimes I end up having to thin it out a little bit. And I don't know how I end up with so many bottles of tacky glue. It's kind of ridiculous, but nevertheless, that's what I have. But you see how it doesn't want to spread without a little bit of water. And you kind of got to move quickly with a heavier body glue like this. You got to kind of move on so that you can actually keep that surface of that glue wet when you go to stick the fabric into it, because if you don't, then you end up with air bubbles between the fabric and the surface of the book. And this is just going to be kind of a junk journal. All right, so we're just going to stick this on here. And I purposely chose a fabric that didn't really have a pattern because I didn't want to worry about, you know, making patterns nice and straight and all that kind of stuff. So we're just going to lay it on here. And I'm going to build this thing as I go, so it really doesn't, if something doesn't work out exactly the way I think it should, yeah, well, I'll adjust as I go along, okay? Well, you certainly don't want to, you don't want to run out of any kind of glue. You know what I mean? Because if you run out of glue, you're in trouble, right? You run out of, you got to have the right kind of glue for the job at hand. All right, so hopefully that's going to stick. Looks like it's sticking pretty well, except here. Do any of you do December journals just for the month of December? Some people call them December dailies. I had never even heard of a December daily until probably 2012, and I ended up taking a class on doing a December daily journal, and I'm like, that was actually kind of fun. You know, it's kind of a cool thing to do. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now I'm going to work on pulling this fabric over here and wrapping it, and I'm going to let this just be a nice thick corner. I don't care. I really don't care a whole lot how perfectly neat this is. I'm just going to add some glue around the edges of this book. And I'm going to pull the corners in at essentially kind of an angle across, a diagonal across the corner. December daily is a lot of people, I mean, some people do it every single year, and they've got journals for years for December daily. I mean, back when I had more stuff to do in December, you know, like more Christmas type holiday preparations and stuff, I didn't have time to keep up with the journal. I don't know how people do it, honestly, when they have a lot of activities and stuff going on. I don't know how they do it. Keep up with it. Anyway. Okay. Let's kind of quickly put some glue over here. Keep around the edges. And then when you have time to do it, then you're like, well, I don't really have anything to put in a journal. You know what I mean? But I thought, well, what the heck? Maybe I should do it this year. Okay, so I'm going to pull this over. And today I was looking online just to kind of see what kinds of journals, you know, what kinds of things people were using for a December journal, and it seemed like a lot of them were doing junk journals, and I thought, I don't know, this might be a junk journal when I really get going with it, but I kind of wanted to have a place in it, you know, combine art, a little bit of art, like drawing, with the whole concept of photos and stuff like that. You get plenty of stimulus at this time. Yeah, that's the truth. It's not too hard to be overly stimulated. Okay, So what I'm going to do now is, again, I'm just kind of dipping my brush in water, just getting it kind of wet. And there's probably all kinds of ways to do this that might even be way better than what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add some water around, or water and glue. Mostly glue, a little bit of water, but mostly glue around the edges. And then we're going to pull this fabric up and over. And we'll see how this goes, huh? This book is that I'm using is not valuable, so it doesn't matter. If I mess it up. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what Muppet did to me. Tell you that while I'm doing this. You see what you get the idea what I'm doing. This is not exactly what you would call a tutorial on making a journal. This is just me messing around and seeing if I can do this. So yesterday was Sunday, clearly, because today is Monday. And we went to church yesterday morning. And then after church, we were going to go to the basketball game because our local university, MU, was playing KU. And I thoroughly expected we were going to get blown out of the water because KU always has this fabulous basketball team. And so I was expecting that to happen. That shows you how much faith I had in our team. Anyway, so as we were walking out of church, there was a young man walking out too that we know pretty well. He's a single guy. He's a young teacher. I think he's in his second or third year of teaching. He teaches at a different town from here, but lives here and has to commute to where he teaches. Anyway, so we saw him, and he's gone with us to games before, and there was one ticket still available. That the Studley Duck had one ticket still available, and so we were talking to this young guy, and he said, we asked him if he'd like to go with us because he was headed home. He'd already been to church and he wasn't having to teach Sunday school and whatever. And so he said, well, yeah, he'd like to do that. Okay, that's not looking too bad. That's covered on the outside. And this is reinforced in here, so this is good. Okay, so far so good. I need a little more in here. And so, he said, yeah, he'd like to do that. And I thought, well, that'd be fun, because he's nice young man. We enjoy hanging out with him. One of my favorite things about the Studley Duck is that he enjoys all different ages of people. And I just really enjoy that about him. So he'll hang out with college kids, high school kids, junior high kids. He just enjoys people, and he's taught me a lot about enjoying all different kinds of people. So anyway, this young man decided he'd go with us. Okay, so all's good. We're driving my car, and we got to my car, and because I'm taking Muppet back and forth with me a lot, because I can't leave her on her own. Oop, I lost my chat here. Yeah, we really do need people like him. He's great. Messing around Monday. That's a good way to say it, Carlin. That's a thing. Hi, Orange. So, hey, Rhonda. Oh, you're not late. Don't worry. You're perfect. You're in the perfect time. Okay, so that is that. Okay, that looks okay. And before I go on, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this piece of fabric inside here. Let's see if I can. Kind of pre-sized it to see if it was going to work, and I think it is. So this is what's going to line my little book, is this green. Okay, so I'll stop for a minute and just talk to you. So we're going to get in my car. And so, I said, I'll sit in the back because, if anybody's going to get dog hair on them, it should be me, not anybody else. And I have a seat cover for my back seat, but I didn't have it in. But I did have this runner that I'd been using on a couch here in my house, because when Muppet's here at my house, she has her own couch. It's a junky couch, and it's not worth sitting on. It's a horrible couch, and it's a love seat basically, and she loves it, so it's all good. So she sits or lays on that couch, and she had been pretty much tearing up the upholstery with her claws. And so I had put this, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I put this runner, stair runner kind of thing, on this couch. And it works fine. And it's small enough that I can wash it in the washing machine. So I'd put that in the back seat of my car because, I was too lazy to put the seat cover back on the seat. Anyway, okay, so that's right, Rhonda. That's right. Hey, Terry. Sorry, my nose is a little runny today for some reason. Anyhow, so it's in the back seat of the car. And Muppet is not sure-footed at all, and so I now have to have a harness on her, and I have to clip her to a place in my car so that she just doesn't have any strength in her back end, and so she tends to fall off the seat and stuff. And so this piece of runner, this carpet thing, helps give her a little more stability. All right, so you got the picture. So I'm going to get in this back seat. And so I'm just going to, move that runner. I'm just going to fold it up, and just move it over. And on the seat is a nice big piece of dog poop. And I'm like, really, dog? She's just, she's 16. She's just old enough that she's essentially incontinent, but not totally. And of course, our guest who's going with us, has kindly opened the door or something, and I'm just, you know how embarrassing that is. And then I have to start making excuses for my old dog who's 16, and, oh, Muppet, why would you do this? Of course, now I'm relatively sure when I get out of the car, I'm going to have dog crap all over the back of my pants or something. You start having those feelings, and I'm going to have to go. And then it's like, so does my car smell like dog crap, because ever since I had that really bad respiratory infection in October, my sense of smell has not totally and completely returned. Ugh. You guys ought to laugh at that one. You really ought to laugh at that. I mean, seriously. Yep. That. And of course, you can't just pick it up with a tissue and toss the whole thing outside because you're in a church parking lot. You can't just like toss it out on. Anyway, yeah, it's like, okay, so you can pick it up, but then what do you do with it? Dog, why do you do this to me? And of course, she doesn't care, doesn't know anything about it. She doesn't care. Because she doesn't have a clue. She didn't even, chances are she didn't feel it fall out of her rear end. I know, really? Can you imagine? Yeah, I know, right? He's young, he's single, doesn't have any kids. So you think the chances that he didn't go, man. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. That was yesterday. So when we finally got home yesterday, and it wasn't like we just went to the game and then that was it. No, we went out for lunch or dinner after the game, and then we had to drive him back to get his car. So he was in the car for a good long while, and I'm like, oh. Can you imagine? I just hope it didn't stink. It might have, but I hope it didn't. Yeah, such is life. Old people who can't smell, dogs who can't control where they go. Yeah. That was yesterday. Exciting times over here. And I keep, and then I tell people that I'm essentially running a hospice for the dog and the cat. Plus, Elton has a dog who she's about in the same condition that Muppet is, but she's primarily an outside dog. She used to be mostly inside dog. And she's, her name is Pepper Jack, and she's decided that when she sees this other dog going in and outside of the house, that she should be allowed to do that. And she's as deaf as Muppet is, and when she comes in the house, trying to communicate with her, but on top of that, she's stubborn. And so her first beeline, she beelines right to the room where the cat is. Because there isn't anything that Pepper Jack likes more than a cat box. Because it's like, ooh, free food. I'm like, no. It's a virtual circus with these animals. It is a virtual circus. And then we have Clarence, who is a border collie, and Clarence has one goal in life, and that is to fetch a frisbee. That is his entire purpose. He is obsessed with it. And so he constantly is sticking a frisbee in your face or your hand or whatever, but he won't let you have it. He wants you to take it and he wants you to throw it, but he will not give it to you. Crazy dog. He absolutely knows his purpose in life. It is a frisbee, and that is that. Indeed. Okay, so hopefully as this dries, it will kind of dry down. I didn't put glue on the top of it. I just put the glue under the fabric, and you can see it's not perfect, but it's perfect enough. Perfect enough. Okay, so I'm going to just set this off to the side for the moment. It's a nice little size journal, so it's going to be okay. And then I'm going to cut another piece of fabric. We have some, I mean, who doesn't like a nice, good red and white striped fabric at Christmas time? I mean, really. And so I'm going to cut rather than tear, because let's see if it tears on the stripe. Oh, it does. Okay, I'm going to tear it on the stripe because I like the softer edge. And so I'm going to wrap the outside spine. I'm making it up, as I said, I'm making this up as I go along. So that's 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, about here. I had a funny call just a little bit ago. It was, I had never had a call from Amazon. That's a unique experience. And somebody calls from Amazon. And it was a girl, and she said, "I'm trying to deliver a package," which didn't surprise me. I knew that I had ordered a couple things that were supposed to show up today. She said, "And I'm here, but there's a big dog here." And she said, I don't know if this dog is okay or not." And it was Pepperjack. And Pepperjack is like, she's Australian Shepherd. Oh, okay, this isn't going to tear very well. All right. So I'm gonna cut this, and then I'm gonna just rough up the fabric a little bit. Anyway, Pepperjack is a combo platter of Australian Shepherd and Beagle. And when Elton told me that, I mean, just the visual of that pairing has got to be, it doesn't matter whether the mama was the Beagle or the papa was the Beagle. That had to have been quite the activity to get that to occur, that conception to occur. Anyway, she looks more like the Australian Shepherd, I think. Anyway, Pepperjack, a brand of wine. Interesting. Here it's a cheese. Okay, so this is what I have, and I'm going to put this. I'm going to glue this around the outside of this binding. And the reason I'm going to do that is just to further reinforce that binding. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue on this, okay, rather than on the book. I'm going to saturate this with glue. So anyway, the Amazon gal called, and she wanted to know if the dog was okay, and I'm like, yeah, she's old. I mean, you hope you're giving people accurate information. As far as I know, she's never done anything to anybody. And but she can't hear. She's like Muppet. She can't hear, so you can't call her by name. Anyway, then I tried to call the girl back to make sure that everything was okay, but then, you know, the phones, you can't call them back, can't call the Amazon number back. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll find out when I get back over there that indeed everything turned out okay. Okay, so let's take this piece of... Now this is where, when things start getting gluey, when your hands start getting full of glue, that gets to be gets to be a little bit of a challenge, because everything now wants to stick to your hands. The thread ravelings, the fabric, you know, everything wants to stick to you because your hands start getting gluey. So can't you just imagine this young man that was with us? Can't you imagine what he told his roommates when he got back home after the dog poop incident? Can't you imagine? I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh well, you know, there's not much I can do about it. Yeah, not much I can do about it. It is what it is. All right, I'm going to put a little bit more glue on here, and I'm going to go through. The female Rottweiler lay down for a basset hound. Yeah, a friend of mine, back when we lived in a small town. This is years ago. My best friend lived across the street from me, and she had an Irish setter, female. And she'd had, I think, one litter of puppies with this female, and then she was going to get her spayed. She didn't get her spayed quite quick enough, and she went in heat. Well, they had a totally chain link fence. I'm just adding another coat of glue on top of this spine fabric, just to further saturate it with glue. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going across here. So anyway, this neighbor who lived across a very busy road had a dachshund. And this dachshund loved kids, and his name was Ernie. You could always tell how old our kids were by the name of their pets. We had a rabbit named Archie Bunker, and this neighbor across this very busy road, and it used to just really upset me that they didn't keep that dog at home, and he survived a really long time, but he was a dachshund, and he was an intact male. And so when my best friend's Irish setter went into heat, well, here came Ernie. Well, everybody thought, you know, nobody gave it a second thought, because there was a chain link fence that went, you know, was a decent, well, I mean, it was too tall for the dachshund to go over, and he wasn't a climber. His legs were too short. He couldn't climb like some beagles will climb a chain link fence, but this guy couldn't do that. And so everybody thought he was, you know, it was fine. Well, it wasn't fine, because my friend was a school bus driver, and she looked out one morning. I guess it was the morning as she was getting ready to leave to go drive her route, and here is Ernie, and he has managed to get under the fence somewhere. The Irish setter had laid down for him. Okay, the Irish setter laid down. The dachshund mounted this very tall Irish setter. And in case any of you don't know how that happens, there is a process called tying. And it's where the male and the female cannot come apart for a little while. And that happened. And the female was now over it. She did not want this activity to happen anymore, so she stood up. And so here is this dachshund who can't reach the ground. It was bad news. It was, you can imagine how very painful that was for this little dachshund until that process finally ran its course and he finally got let go. And yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Poor Ernie. Poor Ernie. He shouldn't have done that, should he? Shouldn't have done that. But he did. So anyway, okay, so here is this little journal. Okay, so it's got red stripe down the spine. We have green inside. And so hopefully that will all firm up now and dry, and we will have a nicely covered little book. So let me go over here. Let me see if I can find my one and only Christmas journal I've ever done. So if you'll give me just a second. Indulge me for a moment. And I don't think I have any novelty Christmas prints or anything that I can put something on the front cover of this. That I will have to do. Otherwise, I will not be able to tell the front cover from the back cover. And on a journal, that makes me absolutely nuts. Instant karma for Ernie. Yep. Ever so true. Instant. Oh, poor thing. I doubt if he learned his lesson, though. I seriously doubt that Ernie learned his lesson. Nature is a very powerful, powerful drive. You know what I mean? Just cleaning up my nonstick mat a little bit. Get some of the glue off of it. Yeah, I'm going to have to put something on the front of this little journal because that'll drive me nuts if I don't. All right, let me look for this journal real quick. My one Christmas journal. Be right back. I could see it, but I couldn't get it out of my cabinet without unloading everything that was in front of it. Can you imagine? Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to let this sit. I'm just going to let it sit up in front of me, and we'll look at this other journal. Some of you may have seen this before. And if you have, great. And if you haven't, maybe you'll be interested in this kind of journal. It's a binding method that I'm not crazy about, but it's there's a story behind that. Okay, so this was from 2012. And so this is a few years ago in my journaling adventure. And this was a class I took, and I made this the size that the teacher in the class, I think it was about the size that she was doing. And so this is not exactly a junk journal, but sort of junk journal-like. And so this, I just used a piece of, it was like the back of the back of a legal tablet. So the chipboard on the back of those is not real thick like some chipboard is. And I covered this with, this is a washi tape sheet, as I'd gotten some of these. And washi tape does not stick well. And so I'm going to go through all the mistakes on this just so you can learn from my journey on this. And so I should have added much more tacky glue or something. It has a tackiness on the back of a washi tape, or in this case the washi sheets. There is a tackiness on the back of it, but that is not enough glue for it to hold long term. And so that's what's back here in the background. These are die cuts. These snowflakes are die cuts of, I did a whole stream one time on using this die and die cutting all different kinds of materials. So like this was like a foam tray, like, you know, one of the things that you get that sometimes have fruit and vegetables on them. That's this one. This was tape that was on top of another piece of this lightweight chipboard. So this was just tape, like duct tape. This was napkin that was glued onto the surface of chipboard. And this was plastic of some kind, plastic packaging. And so all of these were just some of the different kinds of materials that I was using to cut that one die from. And then I ran all of them, or each one of them went through a different embossing folder with the die cutting machine. So that was, and so I just decided to stick them on the front of this journal. This and this and this, these are Starbucks gift cards. And I'm not even sure that there were gift cards that anybody gave me. I may have just asked for them at Starbucks. It's probably what I did. And then just using a heavy scissor, I cut out around bits and pieces of those Starbucks gift cards. So those are all cut out and glued on. This was, I think, from a sleeve from a coffee cup. I'm not sure what that was exactly, bits and pieces. This was the name of the class. It was called Christmas Chronicles, and I don't even know if I must have stamped that out, although I'm not sure. And this just was a piece of ephemera. This was from one of the companies back then that I don't think is in business anymore. And it said, remember this, and then I stamped 2012 on it. Okay. And then I used just different brads to hold those things on. This is, and you can see the brads right back here. The legs of the brads are right here. So I didn't do anything to even camouflage the fact that they were brads. And this was just scrapbook paper, cheap scrapbook paper that I put inside this, and I did that before I even thought of adding the brads. So I think, as I recall, what I did is I just kept adding stuff to the front cover of this. So it's pretty busy. It's pretty busy. And then we created all the pages. That was the first thing we did in this class. And so we created all the pages. I used cardstock. This was a ledger. It was a stack, a card, a scrapbook pad of cardstock weight, and it was ledger paper. It was all, replicas of ledger papers. And so that's what's in the background. And so I cut all the papers down. So I made all the pages, and then I started adding things to it and following along with the class that when she would put the videos up. I think it was every day, but I don't remember now for sure. So this was a Christmas card that came in, this I added. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking for doing with this little journal, is having some art and also just keeping kind of a diary of the season. That's kind of what's in my thought process. So all of this around the outside edge and around the card, that's all stuff that I added. So these look like little candies and stuff like that. This is part of the paper that was the cardstock that was in the background. And one of the other things that she did in the class was she had different line drawings that you could download, and then you could add them into the journal. So this was one, and her name was Holly. And so that's what I wrote there. Her name is Holly. And this was a piece of dictionary paper in the background that I added on there. This is all things that I added because of the holly leaves. So I added a holly border. So this was my rendition of her drawing back then. And then she had prompts in the class. She did different prompts for different days, and then also she went through some things like what is the symbolism of holly and that sort of thing. So that's what I put in here. So you can kind of read it, but not necessarily totally read it. And this came from, I don't know, tissue paper or something. And I wrote here, it's just a merry, merry, merry kind of day indeed. And this was from, I think this was from a napkin, maybe. And then some of these things, anything that looks hand-drawn is. And so the prompt was Holly, the portrait, and doodle some holly. That was the prompt for that. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. This was a Christmas card. These were things that I added, that I drew. One of the prompts was their favorite childhood Christmas memory, so that's what I wrote about here. And these were pictures that I printed off. These are just printed off with an inkjet printer, so there's nothing fancy about these, but they've held up for a long time. So these were all shots of or prints from when I was a kid. Get a load of these glasses right here. This is me as in 1965. Get a load of the glasses. Yeah, aren't those special? Okay, here's another tidbit of information. This picture is, let's see, Peggy may be able to tell me. My sister Peggy's here. Here's all the stockings across here. Peggy, are you here? Are you listening? I'm pretty sure this is my sister Mary. Peggy will tell me because she probably recognizes the picture more than I do. This is me. And if this is Mary, who I think it is, she was married to Claus Man before I was. It is. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this is Mary, my sister Mary, who was 13 years older than me. And she was married to Claus Man, and then she was killed in a car accident, and then he and I got married. So, yeah, there is a picture of two of Claus Man's wives. Claus Man is my husband who died 3 years ago from dementia. That is trivia for you. That is trivia. And this is that is a stuffed clown. Peggy, you made those or Jeannie made those? Who made those clowns? So we had a raft of those clowns in the family that year. Let's see. And these are dolls. This was the Christmas morning. And this is me in high school. That's my cat. This was the days of the very, very short skirts. Yep, very short skirts. And our dad was, he was in the nativity pageant at our church. And he was always one of the three kings, and he always sang the gold verse. gold I bring to crown him again. So that's why that's there. But all these little things around here, these are all just little add-ons. Mary made the clowns. Okay, so this sister right here made these clowns. I didn't remember that. See, it's too long ago. The memory's going. So all of these doodles and things are just around here. I think I used markers and micron Pigma pens, I think. Yeah. So then this is more Christmas cards, and this is a piece of paper napkin. So is this. All of the other things that are on here are just doodles that I put on there. The trees here, I added just an extension of this Christmas card. And again, these are Christmas cards. And this is from Dee Dee Willingham. That's her handwriting. Any of you that know Dee Dee. And this whole page back here, all of these dangle things, these are Zen Dangles by Joanne, I think it's Joanne Fink. And so all of this was added. That's when I was fascinated with doodles and clearly didn't have enough going on in my life. When you can sit and spend that much time drawing dangles, you don't have enough to keep you busy. This is, who is this? Yeah, this is a note to myself. Pull up your big girl panties and get on with it. This is, this was another one of the drawings that she gave us the outline, and so that was the drawing. I don't remember what she was. Let's see. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That was that. And this is modeling paste through a stencil to do the background, to get the snowflakes on there. These are all just either stamps. This was stamped, I think. These were drawings. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter. This was Ivy. That's who that was. This was Ivy. That was her name. So I put Ivy leaves on her. Yeah, well, it's right there. Duh, Ivy. So that's who this one was. So this is all just pen and ink, taking this, which was from a Christmas card, and extending it. And so this was all about the symbolism and stuff about Ivy. This was a Christmas card. This was from a card or a piece of paper or something that Claus Man did that year for Christmas. And this was from the bag that the roses. This was from the bag from the wrapping that of the gift that he gave me that year. This is my granddaughter, and she is the mama of the grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, the little boy that I went and helped her with when she had him last June. And she also has a little girl who's 3. And this is, I drew this, and then I drew more bits of the holly and stuff. Yeah, I didn't, he was not her boyfriend until she was in her 30s, but the funny part about Claus Man is I don't have any memory of meeting him. He was just always part of our family. But he married her when I was about 13 or 14. So, 14? Yeah, that'd be about right. So he was just always part of our family, but not when I was that little. Not when I was that tiny. So this is my granddaughter, and Claus Man gave us a class out at Soul Sentiments. And so this is us at the class. We went out to the class and we did, it was a bookbinding class that we took. And this was a card that she made for me, the background. All of this stuff is dangles that little dangled bits that I drew. If you don't have the book on Zendangle, I highly recommend that you get it. If you like this kind of stuff, it's great ideas, and once you kind of catch the idea, then you can go off on your own, but every once in a while I still get it out and look at it for just reference. Yeah. This lady right here was one of our clients, and she was such a sweet lady, and she had a lot of, she and her husband were rock hounds, and they would go trips, take lots of trips, and they would collect rocks and stuff. And Clausman did a huge remodel on her house before her children moved her out. And then because she had to, this is where she was still on her own, and her children moved her out, and then Clausman did a huge remodel on the house so that they could sell it because nothing had been done to it for years and years and years. So he did a carving for her kids, for her, they're adults, obviously. And he used some of the stones that we had from her house, collect little specimen stones and put them on her carving. It was a Santa. And this is my granddaughter. This is this granddaughter right here. So here she is at the class, the bookbinding class that we did together. And this is Warren. He's the guy that I worked for, and that's his handwriting. And he was a trip. He was a trip. So this was his handwriting. I had to include that. I was still working for him at that time. This has an envelope in it, and my 2013 wishes. I haven't read those since. I don't even know what they say, but this is just a brown envelope that I sprayed with a whole bunch of sprays and stamps and stuff that I glued in here and added stars back here. And the reason I did that is because this character is another one of the drawings that we got in the class, and her name was Star. And you see this is her hair up here. And so this was from a stencil, so I added lots more stars, and then I hung some stars out of her hair, and then wrote the word star, and then carried it on over there. I don't know if you guys find this interesting or not, but I thought I'm just going to go through it while this dries a little bit more. Okay. This was another Christmas card, and so I made a stack of birds, and these are all parts of Christmas napkins on top of dictionary page that I added on one of the pages. Anytime you glue stuff on a cardstock page, it starts thickening it up, so it's nice. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Rhonda. This was, again, another Christmas card. And from the Christmas card, and then just various notes, random memories of Christmas. This is Angela. This was another one of the drawings. I was not real pleased with her, and I don't think I did a very good job, but she was supposed to be the older, an older face and stuff like that. I mean, it's okay, but it's not great. Anyway, Angela the Watcher is what she was about. This was Christmas memory. A lot of this is Christmas memories. This was in January. Lots of prompts as we went through, and then I just continued adding more cards as they came in. And some of them I just punched and added in, like so. Some of them I glued in. this is the way the cardstock page actually was. Another card and another card. This is all of this back here is paper napkin with some stenciling on top of it and some pieces of dictionary paper that I put on top of it. Faith, hope, and charitable. And this is paper, or this is wrapping paper, so I cut out all these pieces from wrapping paper and glued them in with various journaling things that I added. And here's another example of more of the Zendangles, but with more color added to them. I clearly was into those Zendangles that year. Clearly. And this was a photograph. It was a photograph that was in a Christmas card. And this was a little dog that Claus Man found. And close to the property where he found this little dog, they took her in. And then that year, this was their Christmas card that they did, which I thought was just so adorable. And this was from a hymn book that I just added here. This is one of my favorite Christmas hymns, Angels We Have Heard on High. This was the Christmas calendar that year, and this is the back page. And that is that. The reason this has extra holes in it is because in the class, that was the first thing that she had us do, was to punch the holes. Now, if I were to do this again, I wouldn't do that. I would not punch all these holes, because what ended up happening is I think she got sick and never was able to really finish the binding portion of this class. So I've held it together just with these rings, which I don't like, but I never did know exactly what her intention was for binding this together. So that's why it's got 5 holes and 3 things holding it together. So, yeah. And then I lost interest in trying to figure out how to, if I really want to, I could figure out how to bind this together, but it wasn't worth it to me, and so I just leave it just like this. Anyway, I did complete that project. So I went all the way through December and into January. But one of the things that I really love about that particular journal, now that it's as old as it is, it's still holding up, which is great, but I like having the art throughout, and so I thought it would be fun to have this little journal, which is not very big, so it can't hold too many pages, but I thought it would be kind of fun to incorporate different kinds of little drawings. I'm not going to draw girls like that, but I thought it would be fun to draw little things throughout the journal. And so I was thinking of things like, that squiggly Christmas tree. Oh, thank you. The squiggly Christmas tree that was in here in one of these. And if you have a journal that has a binding like this, where it's not really bound, I can unscrew these binders and I can add more stuff to it. That's what's nice, is when cards come in later, you can actually add more to it. So that is an advantage. But something like this Christmas tree, that makes a good little design. There's just all kinds of design things that you can do throughout that don't have to take a lot of time to add into something like this. Those faces that I did in there, I was trying to go through and follow as much as possible her tutorial, although at that point in time I wasn't all that great at hello, Miss Lady Jan. At that point in time, I wasn't really doing a lot of colored pencil stuff. I was pretty new at that. So I was doing some base layers with acrylic paint and then coming back with colored pencil on top of it. I would stress over that because I was doing it right in the book. Now I would do it separately and cut it out and glue it in. That's what I would do now. Anyway, so I was just thinking of different things that I could add in to this little journal and also incorporate photos, because I have that little photo printer, the Sprocket 2x3, 2-inch by 3-inch photo printer, which I absolutely adore. And it's still working very well. And so I was thinking I would put some of those in this and incorporate some journaling, but also just putting in some little artwork. So that's what I was thinking about doing. And so what I'm also thinking with you guys is, first of all, I will not be here Friday. This coming Friday, which is 15th, I think. I think it's the 15th. Is that right? No, that's not right. Just a minute. The 13th. I should know. The 13th. That's my 2-month anniversary. Can you believe that? I've been married for 2 months. I was married 48 and a half years, and now I've been married for 2 more months. Anyway, I will not be here that day because we are traveling that day. It is the 13th. So anyway, time does just get crazy. So I was thinking instead that I might stream a little bit. It will be very impromptu between now and I can't tomorrow because tomorrow's a crazy day. I don't think I can work it in tomorrow, but Wednesday, let me look here. I can stream Wednesday afternoon for a little bit, so I will try to do it Wednesday. I'm going to write this down. Wednesday at 2 Eastern, so that's 1 my time. So I'm going to try and do that for a little bit on Wednesday. And if there are other people that are streaming, please just go watch them. You can catch the recording of me later, okay? Support the people who are streaming live, okay? And you can come and watch this here later. And then, so I also on Thursday, my calendar is open on Thursday. And so what I will plan to do is maybe to be here Wednesday in the afternoon, and then if I don't get enough done on this little thing, I'll be here on Thursday afternoon, but I will not be here Friday, okay? Hi, Denise. Good to see you. So does that sound reasonable for you guys? Saint Lucky Day. It's Mr. Bear's birthday. Is that on the 13th? And also Lucy Day. Listen to me. I can't even read. So anyway, that may be my schedule, and I'm going to write both of those down so I know that I told you. That's what I told you I would do. Okay? They may not be long streams, but that's what I can do. But I thought that would be kind of a fun thing to do because this is not dry enough for me to bind the pages into it. But you see the idea, and so taking this idea, combining it with some things out of this one, and just sort of playing around with the concept of making a December journal or a Christmas journal or whatever, or a holiday journal, whatever you want to call it. Hi, Vale. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. So does that sound good to you guys? I hope it does, because that's what I think I'm going to do. All right, any questions from anybody at this point? I know this is a little shorter, but that's the way it's going to be tonight. It's going to be a little short. That way I can come back and do some stuff later this week. All right? Sounds good. Okay. And the moderators, if you're busy doing other stuff, that is perfectly fine. We will make do. Hello, Linda. Okay, you guys have a great rest of your next couple of days, and I plan to be here on, hopefully I'll see you Wednesday, okay? Until then, as always, have a good rest of your day, your week, your weekend, your whatever. Do something nice for somebody else. I challenge you, do something nice for somebody else. You know, you can make little bits of art like this, and you can write a little message on the back, and you can leave it in a restaurant, or you can leave it, you know, hanging around. And if you just something with a little bit of encouragement on it, you cannot imagine how much that can mean to somebody. People did that for me. Several people did that for me when I was dealing with Clausman in that last year of taking care of him. And I will tell you, those things were the things that I clung to as I was walking through that last year with him. Absolutely clung to those little messages and those little bits of hope. So don't ever underestimate what you do for somebody else, how important it could be. Okay? All right, I'm going to go. Remember to get creative today because you know it's easy, and I will see you soon. Okay? Bye for now.